Hey guys, this is Chris here again. Haven't been doing updates recently, but I figured I'll go ahead and get started with some stuff that I've gotten over the past couple weeks. This one here is Wreck. Got it for about $3 at Movie Gallery because our movie gallery was going out of business. And haven't watched this yet. I really like the American remake of it, Quarantine. So I'm really hoping that this one lives up to the hype that it has for being even better than Quarantine. That is Wreck. Next up is Shock Festival. Picked this up at local FYE for about $20. This is contains trailers and radio spots from 70s and 80s grindhouse films. I watched some of the trailers to it, and the trailers are pretty cool, and it led me to some movies that I've never even heard of before. So if you guys get a chance, definitely check this out. It's definitely worth it. It's put out by Bloody Earth Films and Shockorama, I believe. Next up is the Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy. This is probably the most in-depth documentary that I've ever watched in my life. They go through every single Nightmare on Elm Street movie for about 30 minutes at length on each one. Also including in the documentary is the TV show Freddy's Nightmares, and also Freddy vs. Jason. And they also talk a little bit about Freddy's merchandise that was sold in stores with him as well. So this is a very, very great documentary. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, even if you're just a horror fan in general, definitely pick this up. It's definitely worth it. Got a couple Blu-rays here. I got the Nightmare on Elm Street Blu-ray. The quality on this just looks great. I have the Infinifilm DVD version, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the Infinifilm, but just a better transfer onto Blu-ray. So if you're a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, definitely pick this up. Other Blu-ray I got is Stephen King's The Mist. It's one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, especially for the ending of it. It's one of those movies when you go in a theater and watch it, you don't expect something to end as horribly as this one did, and that's one reason why I actually like this film. And I figured the Blu-ray would be really cool to watch because it has a black and white version in it as well. So I figured I'd pick it up and see how good the transfer was, but I haven't had a chance to watch the black and white version of it yet. Next up is True Blood Season 2. This is probably one of my favorite TV shows that's out right now other than Supernatural. It has to deal with vampires. I'm usually not a big vampire fan, but this one is just so well made, and it has such good humor behind it that it's definitely worth a watch. The first season has pretty much to do with vampires. The second season goes off with a lot of other different stuff like monsters and different creatures and demons and all of that sort. So if you haven't had a chance to watch this, it's distributed through HBO, so it's very adult. It's got a lot of language and nudity in it, but if you get a chance to check this out, I really advise you to pick it up and watch it. Another TV show I got is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Season 5. Just now recently got released after being like 3 or 4 years from Season 4 release. I'm a big fan of 80s and 90s sitcoms, and whenever I seen this was coming, I just had to pick it up. This is one of my favorite sitcoms, other than that, than Family Matters and Boy Meets World. But I always get a chance to watch these every now and then before I go to sleep at night. Okay, we're going to move on to some laser discs that I got here. Picked up Stephen King's Pet Sematary laser disc at a flea market for about $5. And I don't know if that's a good deal or not. I've never really bought laser discs before. This was actually the first one I bought. And the reason I like these is because it's just like a giant CD. And everybody that collects horror films or horror VHS knows that that the bigger the box, the better it is. So there's that one. And also picked up the Unearthing laser disc as well. This one has an awesome cover to it. I think I really like the background with the tombstone, and on the front it's got the weird toy doll. I've never actually seen this movie. I have the VHS of it, so I don't know if it's actually any good or not. But I don't have a Laserdisc player. I just pretty much picked these up just for collectability reasons. Picked up the new issue of Horror Hound magazine, which is a really good issue. It covers about a 5-page retrospective of City of the Living Dead. Talks about all the behind-the-scenes stuff with them, with the cast and interviews with the cast, and also talks about the Blu-ray. Now, one thing this issue does have is it has a discussion on Blu-rays for horror films, and they go through and pick apart every single thing about horror film Blu-ray. Every horror Blu-ray that's been out, they talk about it and tell you how much better it is than the DVD and whether or not it's worth buying. So if you're a fan of Blu-rays, horror Blu-rays, or just horror in general, definitely pick up this copy of Horror Helm magazine. It's issue number 23, and it's also got a awesome VHS article on Paragon Video. So if you like the VHS, then definitely pick this up as well. Okay, on to the VHS. I went to the flea market and they had a bunch of VHS there for a couple dollars each. I think I paid $2 each. So I just went through and found all the horror ones that I thought were really good. And this one was Hellcab. I have never seen this before or heard of it, but it does star in Gillian Anderson and Julianne Moore. And Laurie Metcalf from The Roseanne Show, which I really like. So I picked this one up. Don't know anything about it. Don't know if it's any good. If you have seen it and you know anything about it, please just leave a comment and let me know what you think of it. Also picked up The Fury from Brian De Palma. This is another. It's a cut box, which really kind of made me mad. They just pretty much cut a VHS box and put it in one of these cases. But I've never seen the movie. So I don't know if it's any good or not. Usually when I buy these things, they're pretty much just because they're horror films. And every now and then, once in a blue moon, I'll go through and watch them. Dark from Media. I did actually get this confused with another horror film from the 80s with the same title. I didn't know what this one actually was once I found out that it wasn't the correct one. But it is still a horror film, and I'm really interested to see what this one's about. Next up is Terror in the Swamp, sorry, from New World Video. I'm pretty sure it's about a killer swamp monster, killer Bigfoot or something like that. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard it's pretty bad. Very, very cheesy 80s film. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out and seeing how bad it actually is. Next up is a movie that I've never actually heard of before called Out of the Dark. But it seemed to be a mystery, thriller, horror film of that nature. And that clown in the phone booth is kind of creepy. So I did went ahead and pick this one up. It was something I ain't never heard of. So next up is Endless Descent from Live Home Video. I've never seen this one either. I don't think I've seen any of these that I actually got at the flea market. But I did go ahead and buy this. I really like monster movies that take place in the ocean, like Leviathan. So I'm hoping this is similar to Leviathan, and really looking forward to watching this as well. Next up is Snapdragon. This one stars Pamela Anderson, and I believe Zach Galligan is in this from Gremlins. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a Prism release, and that's pretty much the only reason why I got this. I'm not sure what it's even about. Next up is a really cheesy monster movie, Gargantua. And yeah, the only reason I picked it up is just because it was so cheap and it's a horror film. So next is a movie called Blowout, also from Brian De Palma, starring John Travolta. And I've heard really, really good things about this movie, and I've been really wanting to watch this for a long time. This isn't a very good release because, of course, it's good time, so it's not that good of a transfer. But anyways, as long as I can get a chance to watch this movie, I'm really looking forward to it. Next up isn't a horror film, but it's called Snowballing, and this was put out by Prism as well. And somebody had to freaking write their name on it, which I don't understand the point of that. It's kind of stupid, made me mad. But it was a Prism release. It's the only reason I picked it up. And it's one of those cheesy 80s comedies, sex comedies. And those are always fun to watch. So.